Hi, this is Marcia.
And this is Kelly.
We are the 2U's of 2U's Fiber Adventures. Thanks for stopping by.
You'll hear about knitting, spinning, dyeing, crocheting, and just about anything else we can think of as a way to play with string.
We blog and post show notes at 2usfiberadventures.com.
And we invite you to join our 2U's Fiber Adventures group on Ravelry. I'm 100 Projects.
And I am Better in Motion.
We're both on Instagram and Ravelry, and we look forward to meeting you there.
Enjoy the episode. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Marcia.
How are you today?
I am doing great. It is hot here.
Ooh.
I'm enjoying temperatures in the high 80s.
Yay.
I know.
Very nice.
I know. I did have to cut my walk short today. I had on my plan that I was going to do 13 miles, but we barely made it. Bailey was really hot, and I didn't get out early enough, and so we scrapped it at 4 1/4, and I'll do the rest. I don't think I'll do all 13, but I'll do a little bit more tonight. I want to try to at least get 6. I'm behind my schedule. My plan was I could do the whole length of California if I did 5 miles a day. And I'm a little bit behind that average. So I'm trying not to go below 5 miles a day when I can. So anyway, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it. But everybody here is, oh, it's so hot. We melt when it gets above 75.
What, do they think they live in Seattle? I mean, that's how we are, We complain about the weather, and then it gets hot, and then we complain about the weather. Then it gets cold, and we complain about the weather. We're just never happy. I
can say, temperatures in the 100s, unless you're at the lake, and you can go in and out of a pool or some cold body of water, are not fun. And if you have to work or, do regular daily activities, okay, no, I don't want that either. But I'm just so thrilled to have some temperatures that got out of the 60s. We've had such a weird summer.
Yeah, it hasn't, because we typically here get some hot weather in the 90s. We're recording on Saturday, and I think tomorrow, Sunday, is supposed to get hot in the 90s. Yeah. But we've had pretty mild weather, 70s, maybe the low 80s. So pretty mild. And someone told me the other day that they think that we're going to get our hot weather in September.
Oh, okay. That's usually when we have our hottest weather. Well, you remember Sarah's wedding on September 30th, and everyone was melting. Yeah. That really was hot. That was high 90s, I think. Those 2 days. Anyway, I'm enjoying the nice weather. It is a little bit thunderstormy, which is unusual for us too. I mean, that sort of feeling that clouds, the shape of the clouds or the wispiness of the clouds, we don't usually have that kind of cloud cover. We usually have fog or blue skies, and we've got quite a bit of cloud activity going on. So it's a little strange, but I am not complaining at all. I'm enjoying my sunshine.
Yeah.
And then you've got your deck going on, right?
So yes, my deck project is coming along. I have to say it's much, much slower than I thought it would be. When you're imagining something, you think it's going to, your timeline is not accurate, Anyway, we have all the understructure is completed. And the stairs have been built. There's a set of stairs off the north side of the deck that go down. Just they're not used regularly. They're just so we have access. And those are completed, including the decking material. And I'm using ipe wood, which is a hardwood. So that's on the stairs. And the section where the deck meets the back porch, that's been completed.
Oh, nice.
It's maybe 5 feet probably section that's been completed. And these stairs going from the patio down or from the deck down to the patio, the structure is complete, but now we have to put the decking material on.
Oh, yeah.
But we're now been a little bit delayed because I'm having low voltage lighting put in the stairs to light them for safety. So you can, so what you have to do though is you have to cut a hole in the ipe wood that's the riser plus the joist that's behind it. So that was 2 days of cutting out all those holes because I believe there's 17 lights between the stairs and then just the side of the deck to light the garden.
Yeah.
Just on the deck. And so there's a lot of cutting, like with a jigsaw, cutting out those holes.
Sort of specialized work.
Yeah. So all the holes have been cut. And Monday, we're going to start putting in the wiring or put the lights in place and then wire them all up. And there's little clips that you have to screw into the bottom of the joist to hold the wires in place. So we'll hopefully get that finished. Hopefully it won't take that long and we'll finish it on Monday. But Ben is out of town. So he left last night. So we decided everybody kind of needed a break because we're really tired. Especially Mark is really tired. He's not a young man anymore. He's been out there every day at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
In some hot weather too. So, and I've been trying to help as much as I can, but you really can't have 3 people working. It's odd. I mean, there's not enough tools really to go around. And so I've been trying to do things like tidying up the garage and, making lunch and like yesterday I assembled all of the lights because they come unassembled, but you have to wire them. So I sat in the kitchen and did all of that, all 17 lights. I got those wired and ready to go in. And so hopefully we'll start getting the decking on this week. And part of the reason why we have to get the decking on is the decking is sitting in the driveway and we can't get the car out of the garage. And we're heading down to the Washington coast on Saturday. So we have to get the car out of the garage.
So you have a week of work to get
the car out of the garage, yeah. So, because I don't think it's been out of the garage for 2 months. I think it's been, of course, there's no place to go, right? So we just haven't had it out of the garage. But anyway, so we're making progress. And I did clear away all of the debris that from the old deck that had been piled up in the driveway. I called a trash hauler that I thought was going to take everything, but they took just the wood. And they said it was going to be so expensive for them to take the concrete that it would be better if I rented a truck and got rid of it myself. So I rented a dump truck. Kelly, you know what happened to me, but I will just tell our listeners what I did. And I'm really embarrassed by this. And I did what I did because it's so stupid. In fact, my brother said to me afterwards, "What were you doing trying out to win the Darwin Award?" Because we rented this dump truck, big, so like the tail of is 6 feet off the ground. It's that high. And so we're putting all these pieces of broken concrete and concrete piers we're throwing up into, as best we can, into the truck, but they're heavy. So we're just setting them on kind of the tailgate. And Mark said, "Why don't you climb up into the truck and maybe you can slide them further to the front of the truck so it'll make room for the more concrete." And I said, "Great, I'll do that." So what do? I get a 5-gallon bucket and turn it over and stand on it.
Oh, geez.
To climb up it. Yes. To climb up into the back of the truck. Not a good idea because it tipped out from under me. And I went down onto my butt and then onto my elbows. And fortunately, good or bad, my elbows broke my fall, so I didn't hit my head. But I was laying there. My elbows hurt so bad. My first thought, I have to tell you, this is my thoughts in order. As I felt the bucket tip over, my first thought was, "What an idiot." That was my first thought. You know better. This is the classic thing, how people fall, not getting the right equipment. So stupid. But all of our listeners, I think will be kind to me. They will not judge me. I admit it was super dumb.
Everybody's done something like that. Yeah.
Everybody's done something dumb. Yeah. You're like, you're getting in a hurry and just think, "Oh, I'll be fine, and I don't want to have to dig a ladder out. I don't want to go dig the ladder out, and anyway, and then my next thought as I am now on the ground and my elbows hurt so bad, I think I've broken them. That was my first thought. And my first thought then, after I think I've broken my elbows, is how am I going to knit? My second thought was, how am I going to wash my hair? And then I just laid there and my brother's like, oh my God. He's like running around. Oh, are you okay? He said, get up. And I said, no, I just have to lay here. I had to lay in the alley for about 15 minutes because my elbows hurt so bad. And then but I soon realized I could move my arms so they were not broken. They just really, really hurt.
Yeah.
And the other good news is I had a sweatshirt on. So it did break. It broke the skin. I lost a lot of skin, but I didn't have any dirt ground into them because I had the sleeves.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm fine. I put some ice on them and then I've just been just really careful, but they're bruised and unpleasant looking right now.
Yeah.
You know, they're now this has now been a week, so they're turning that lovely yellow-green color.
And you can still knit.
I can knit and I can wash my hair.
You noticed the one thing I asked you about.
Yes. Yes. And all I could think was, thank God. Like, I did not break my elbows.
Yeah. Nothing's broken.
Nothing's broken. And your elbows of everything, like, I don't know. It seems like if you broke a forearm or something, would be bad. But the elbows, I think there's just so much in there. And you couldn't, I think it would be horrible. I was so grateful.
Well, stop thinking about it. It sounds like it's making you a little queasy. Just thinking about it.
I know.
Let's move on to more pleasant subjects.
We'll move on to pleasant things. So anyway, but the deck, we're making progress. Good. And I'm really looking forward to the moment when I can sit out there. Ben and Mark are really enjoying working together too.
That's nice. That's really nice.
So that is really nice. Yeah. So anyway, making progress.
Good.
But anyway, yes, let's not talk about
broken elbows.
Stupid things, broken things anymore. Let's talk projects.
Okay.
So what's going on with you?
Well, right now, while we're talking, I'm working on one of the sleeves of my sweater, the Targhee Lamb handspun yarn that I'm making into the Dark and Stormy. So I've got the body, I think, done. I'm not sure about the length yet, so I just capped off the needles that were in the bottom of it and went ahead and picked up the stitches for one of the sleeves, and I've been working on the sleeve for a few nights now, and it's down past the elbow. I think I have 3 more decreases to do before I'm done, so maybe 30 rows. 30 rows, 25 rows, something like that. So not that far before I get to, I think it has ribbing at the bottom of the sleeves. Yeah, I have to work in ribbing. I'm reading my pattern for 2 inches. That's the first time I've read what I do at the bottom of the sleeves. I do not read my pattern all the way through. In any case, I'm making really good progress, and I'm really enjoying knitting with this handspun. It's really nice. And I have it stored in my 3 Green Sisters bag that I bought with my discount code.
Yes.
I'm really excited about this bag. We'll talk more about them helping to support us with prizes for the summer spin-in, but they have a discount code for 15% savings for any bag in their shop. And so I went and I took advantage and I bought a bag that has sort of a floral print, and it's in sort of sea glass, green, turquoise, yellow, orange, and then a red-orange color that I really like. And then it's trimmed with like a teal, like turquoise teal, kind of a sateen fabric. These are all repurposed, recycled vintage fabrics. And then it's got, and it's big. It has all of my yarn in it. Not quite as big as the one you have, Marcia, but it's got all of my yarn in it, plus my sweater, plus my pattern fits really perfectly in the side pocket. It's got a big pocket on one side that goes all the way through. It's like two pocket openings but it goes all the way through, so I can put the whole pattern page in there in my sleeve. I have it in a sleeve. And then on the other side, it's separated, so there's actually 2 pockets on the outside. I have pockets on both ends, pockets on the inside. So I'm loving this bag. And then I stuck it on top of I brought it to knit at one night, and I stuck it on the bed, and I'm like, hey, this matches the bedroom. This is the same colors as our bedspread.
Yeah.
So I really like it, and I think when I'm not using it, I have the spinning wheel up in the great wheel is up in the bedroom at the moment, and I think I might fill it with my cotton fiber stash and just sit it next to the spinning wheel when I'm done with this sweater, because it's big enough I think it's big enough to hold my entire cotton stash, which is significant.
Well, I know we're talking about your projects, but because you're talking about your bag, I just have to interject that I too bought a bag. I bought a bag as well, and I should say that on their Etsy shop, the bags have names. So, like, do you remember the name of your bag?
I do not.
I can't remember the name of my bag.
I have my tag. Let me look on the tag.
Oh,
and I don't know that I said what the coupon code was. The coupon code is 2U's, TWOEWES, all capitals.
Yes, and actually, this is bad podcasting, but I'm just going to reach over.
So mine is a Phoebe.
I'm sorry, I don't have my paperwork. I don't remember the name of mine, but what we might do, Kelly, is actually we should take pictures and put them in the show notes, and we can say which bags we bought. I'll look mine up.
Okay.
I've forgotten the name of it. Because I was looking at the bags, and you had sent me a picture of the one that you bought, and I really liked the zipper opening, but the other fabrics that were available didn't really speak to me as much. And so I ended up buying whatever the name of the one I bought. I did not realize how big it was going to be, but it's fabulous. I'm laughing. It's like, I can put Enzo inside this thing. I can put my Nalgene bottle in there. I can put my bottle of whiskey in there.
Yeah.
Oh, I can put my knitting in there. I mean, it's big. It's almost like an overnight bag.
Well, and they make loom bags where you can put your rigid heddle loom, or spinning wheel bags that are the size to take one of those more portable spinning wheels.
Yeah.
They probably have one that's the right size to put a little Herbie in. I haven't ever found to have a need for a bag to put my little Herbie in, but I bet you they have a bag that's that size. But
this bag is really nice. So the outside fabric it sort of looks like stylized tulips in a way, sort of like a burgundy, teal, and gold, and then a bit of a cream background. And then the inside is sort of the matching rust color. And I think, like yours, it has one big pocket on one side with this one has a snap closure, and then that big pocket on the other side that then's sewn in half. So you have 2 smaller pockets, and then 2 pockets on the inside. And then what I really like too is the end pocket, so you can put your I can put an Nalgene bottle in there of water, or as I say, my bottle of whiskey in there. But I'm not great. It's a great bag, and again, like, I think it would be a great overnight bag if we ever get to go back to Knockers. When I come down to visit you, one of the issues I have is I have my suitcase that then I take to Knockers, which takes up a lot of space in the room.
Yeah.
And this would be nice. I could just take an overnight bag. Something like this.
That's a really good idea. One of the other things that I noticed about mine is that on the front side of the bag, the pocket fabric and the base fabric of the bag are all matched. So it doesn't disturb the pattern at all. Really nice. I mean, to be able to do that with, repurposed and recycled fabrics is
mine's the same way.
Really nice, yeah.
Very nice, yeah.
Nicely matched.
And it's nice too. Mine has a vinyl bottom, which is nice too.
Oh yeah, mine has the same sateen fabric as the trim, and then has little feet.
Oh, that's nice.
But I've been careful. I've taken it outside, but I sit it on a towel because I don't want it to get dirty. My other bags, I just toss them wherever or sit them on the ground. But this one I've been really careful about because I really like it. And I like my other ones too. I don't put them on the ground because I don't like them. But this one is white, and I don't have the base color is kind of cream. And I don't want to, I just don't want to get it dirty. So anyway, really highly recommend 3 Green Sisters bags, 15% off with the coupon code to use. And they'll also be providing us with prizes for the summer spin-in. Yeah. So thank you, Suzanne and her sisters. I don't know the names of all the 3 sisters. Suzanne is the woman that I've been corresponding with, but anyway, thank you to all of them for this. Offer for our listeners. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah. But anyway, I stopped you in your projects. So let's go back to your projects.
Okay. So yeah, the Targhee Lamb, Dark and Stormy, I'm moving along. I'm going to finish one sleeve probably today and get started on the second sleeve. Once the sleeves are done, there's a button band and a shawl collar. So I still have quite a bit of knitting to do once the sleeves are done. And then I'm going to do your trick of, well, I don't know. I might not wait to put the ribbing on the sleeves. I might just go ahead and finish the sleeves off, use the length of a sleeve that I already have in my drawer. And then I also have to put the ribbing on the bottom of the sweater because I haven't decided how long I want to make it. I think in one of the previous discussions we had, you asked me, was I going to keep it the length that the pattern calls for? And I think I'd like it just a little bit longer than that. So,
because the pattern is sort of waist length, isn't it?
Yeah, it says it skims the top of your jeans, which I would like it to go a little bit lower than the top of my jeans. Mm-hmm. So I am going to make it. I know I'm going to. Well, I've already made it longer than the pattern calls for, but I don't know how much more, how much longer. And there's a detail that the cable morphs into the ribbing. And so I need to, you can't just start your ribbing any time. So I kind of have to know what I'm doing, what I'm going to do before I start to think about where I'm going to put the ribbing in. So that's why I stopped on the body and started working on the sleeves. So that has been really fun. And really it's been really the only project that I was working on until last weekend when I just got the desire to start something new. And I'm not sure why this came to me, but in January, I saw this pattern in Hot Right Now because of the Year of the Rat. It was there, and I bought it, and it's called Rats with an exclamation point. And it's by Sarah Elizabeth Kellner. And I thought, oh, I want to make that rat. I think it was because I was looking at my fingering yarn, thinking about making, am I going to make a pair of socks? Mm-hmm. And I saw this gray Cascade Heritage sock. And I thought, oh, yeah, I was going to use this to make one of those rats. That would be a fun, little palette cleanser, quick project. Mm-hmm. So I did it, and I made the rat. And oh, my God, it took me a day, basically. One evening I made the whole body, and then the next day I put on the legs and ears and whiskers. And I just was having so much fun. I'm running around the house, putting them in different places.
Well, I have to say, you sent me a picture of it on the stove.
Yeah.
It is adorable. And I don't think rats are particularly adorable, but this rat is adorable. It makes me want rats in my house. So I can these rats in my house.
I just think they're so cute. And so now I made this one, and then I thought, oh, I'm going to make them for my grandniece and nephew, Kai and Faye. So I thought, oh, well, I know I want to make a white rat. So I made 2 gray rats, 2 white rats. And then I thought, oh, I know what I'll do. I'm going to make a rat for Faye that's all just kind of colorful. Mm-hmm. And it's not like Kai, who is now starting 3rd grade, is going to really care to play with a stuffed rat. But I don't want to have, more rats for her than for him. So I thought, okay, I'll make another colorful one. So I've got the bodies done of the original one is all the way finished. I've got another body for a gray rat. I've got 2 bodies done for the white rats. And then I've got the body done and head, the whole thing, just no legs on it and no ears on it yet. of this one that is in pink and purple. I used 2 fingerings held double. Or actually it was a sport and a fingering held double of purple and pink. Bright. Colors from Robert's neon
oh, right, yeah.
Argyle socks. So bright purple and pink, and then it has a green tail, again from the green, green like the lime green in the Argyle socks. And the ears are purple and pink on one side and green on the other side, and I haven't made the legs yet. And then I started one for Kai, and Sarah said it was red is his favorite color. I don't know if that's true or not, but I thought, okay, well, I'll make a red and blue one. So he's getting a red and blue rat to go with the 4 that are realistic colors, and she's getting a pink and purple rat. But the funniest thing, and the thing that just cracks me up every time I think about it, and I know I'm getting way more enjoyment out of it than they ever will. I mean, I think they'll like it, but I don't think they're going to react the way I picture myself reacting, is I'm going to put them in a box. And then Aunt Betty said, oh, you need to put a little note on the top that says rats. It's still a pandemic. And so I just imagine opening up a box and you don't know what's in it, right? And you see this thing on the top that says rats, it's still a pandemic. And you think, oh, I wonder what's in here. And you open it up and it's a box full of 6 rats. So anyway, I amuse myself. And then I ordered a couple of books with rat themes that are also going to be in the box. So anyway, I'm getting a big kick out of it, and I can't wait to finish up the last rat and put them in the box and send them away.
Well, I saw it, and I just think it would be really fun to make those rats, and then if you have like a guest room, you just have the rat peeking out from under the bed or peeking out of a bookcase or something. Well, I just think that would be funny.
They are really, I think, really realistic.
They're very realistic, yeah.
And there were a couple of people who made modifications to the pattern, and so I used their modifications. But the woman who made one of the modifications, she said, she had rats, and that they were very, very realistic. And the only thing she was that she was changing was she just used one additional stitch in the cast on for the hind legs, so that the hind legs were a little bit meatier than the front legs. And so I did that. And I did another modification just in the construction of the ears to make it so I didn't have so many pieces. But they are really realistic looking. And then I went and looked at her website, Marcia, and you have to go look at her website. The designer's name is Sarah Elizabeth Kellner, and I was looking at her pattern pages on Ravelry. The other pattern that I saw where I thought of you is called the Scullery Cat. And again, really realistic. It's a cat with the one paw up licking its one paw. And it's about 12 inches. So it's not quite, I'm guessing not quite exactly cat size. Although maybe, I guess that could be the right size. Anyway, it's so cute.
Oh, here it is. I'm looking at it. So cute.
Isn't it cute? Yeah. She has some really cute patterns. This Scullery Cat is one of 4 Victorian cat patterns that she has. And it's the most realistic one. And then she has some other like woodland creatures and stuff. But one thing I am going to recommend to people is if you see patterns like this where you think they're really cute, the stuffed animals, and you think they're really cute, it's often something really subtle that the designer has done to make them look that way. And you'll be disappointed if you don't know what that thing is and you do that particular thing differently. Like when you, they don't always give you information about how to stuff them. She actually says, make sure you stuff it so that you have, emphasize the roundness of the haunches and flatness on the bottom. But that's something I've noticed in patterns for the stuffed animal things that I've done, that when you go look at people's project pages, usually you go looking at people's project pages to look at, oh, what's cute? What have they done? I go and look at people's project pages to look at the ones that I think are ugly. And that sounds terrible. But it gives you an idea about what you need to do to make it look realistic, probably, right? Yes. So for example, the Scullery Cat, there are a lot of them in the project pages where people have put on those cat eyes, which ordinarily for a cat, putting on cat eyes would make a lot of sense, right? Those safety eyes that have the like green, and then they have the slit, the pupil that's the shape of a cat's eye. But the thing is that when a cat is licking its paw like that, it kind of has its eyes all squinty.
Yes, and I'm looking at the picture. She just has like closed eyes drawn.
Yes, and that's the way they look.
Embroidered on it, I think.
And that's the way they look. But, if you thought, oh, I'm going to use these eyes I have, and you did that, then all of a sudden it wouldn't look right, and you wouldn't necessarily know why it doesn't look right. But it doesn't look right because cats don't have their eyes wide open when they lick their paw.
Right.
So anyway,
Oh, yes, here's one that has the eyes. What you're talking about.
They look funny. And so you really have to...
They look startled, actually.
And I mean, I only know this because I've tried making things... I've made this kind of stuff before where I make it and then it's like, that looks wrong. There's something not right about this. And then I don't know what it is that's making it not as cute as the one that I originally saw. So that is something that I have started to do. I look at what other people have made, and like with the rats, the gray rats, I didn't give them a pink tail because it was just too much contrast, even though the tail of a gray rat is slightly pink. But I didn't want the harsh, because I saw some like that. I just didn't want the harsh contrast between the gray yarn and the pink yarn. And so even on the inside of the ears and on the paws, I didn't want that much contrast. So I used a pink yarn, a pale pink yarn, and a kind of a tan yarn held together, just to kind of
soften it a little bit, mute it a bit,
because the ones that I liked the best didn't have that sharp contrast. So anyway, it's the little things that make a difference in stuffed, knitted creatures.
I was going to, along those lines about the fact that you're using the two different colors, the rabbit, the Claire Garland rabbit that I've not finished, but she always is combining two colors of yarn, two different colors to give it kind of a heathered, softer look.
Yeah.
And
they're very close in value. The colors that she uses, that she marls together, are really close in value.
I'm just saying, I'm looking at some of these other projects. They're very funny. Here's a knitted Venus de Milo. There's a darling, it says long underwear for a cold gnome.
Yes, that is cute.
And he's got quite a little pot belly on him. He's just adorable.
Yeah, there's some
bok choy.
Oh, that baby bok choy is hysterical.
Yes,
I saw this morning
pie.
And I thought, I need to make some baby bok choy.
There's roasted turkey legs. There's all kinds of things.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So anyway, I've been going crazy with these little rats. And I think part of it is that, I'm happy to be knitting my handspun with this sweater. But I'm not like searching for patterns for garments that I'm not going to be able to wear anywhere. Yeah. So I was happy to find something that inspired me to, get excited and start a project and then go crazy with multiples of that same project. So, So anyway, those are my two things. I haven't done any more spinning, but I do have, my total spinning yardage for the summer spin in so far, and I'd like to do more, but I'm not sure I'm going to because we're getting close to the end. But my total yardage so far of spinning is 4,662 yards. Wow. And that doesn't include, I didn't count, I don't think I counted it. No, this is just skein yardage. I didn't count, like in Stash Dash that the knit girls do. They count the yardage for each ply and then the yardage for plying. So in a 3-ply, you'd get 4 times the yardage. Yeah. But I didn't do that. This is just yardage. I think it's just yardage of skeins that I've.
That's a pretty good.
So, all the cotton was a big part of it. I got lots of yards of cotton I've done a lot of spinning, but I'm not sure that I'll get to more. I'm also thinking about doing some washing of fleeces and such, but I don't know if I'll get to that either.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, I don't have a lot to report. Since you finished talking about spinning, I'll just start with spinning. I started spinning the cotton that we were talking about in the last episode, and I've probably spun a third of a bobbin. It's so far, I would say spinning cotton is not my favorite. I'm really working on trying to hold it really lightly. I also remember, Kelly, in the last episode, you said try
turning it around.
Turning it around. I've tried that. I don't really notice any difference, which I was expecting it to be really very clear, like night and day, and it is not like that. So I don't know. I'm just continuing to spin. Mm-hmm. I think the more I spin it, the more comfortable I'll be.
Yeah, it takes time. So, it does definitely take time.
Yeah. I think it was last Sunday, Kim, who's living with me right now for the summer, she had a Zoom meet up with her knitting friends. And so she said, just, why don't you come out and join us? So I just sat in the garden with her, and I spent, they were on that for about 2 hours. Mm-hmm. So I just spun the whole time and got a lot done. And it got better. It got easier. Yeah. But it's still a bit of a challenge for me. Mm-hmm. But it'll just take time.
Yeah, that's totally normal. It's so different from spinning wool, the protein fibers. So.
Yeah. Anyway, and then I'm still on and off. Like right now, I'm knitting on the socks, the Arna and Carlo socks, perfect socks, I think they're called. And so I think in the last episode, I had finished the first sock, and now I've cast on, and I've knit, including the ribbing, it looks like it's 6 inches, maybe 5 inches conservatively.
Well, that's good.
So whenever I have sort of mindless, like recording the podcast is mindless, but I don't have to think too hard on socks. So I'm working on those on and off. But what I've really been working on is the cardigan by Hinterm Stein called Holey Comfort. And to remind people, I'm using Elemental Effects Cormo, and it's called Star Coral, so it's a coral color. And a very interesting pattern. I'm really enjoying it. And it's an open front, top down cardigan. And what you do is you knit the back yoke, put those stitches on hold. Well, let me rephrase that. You do a provisional cast on for the back yoke. When you get down to the bottom of the armhole, you put those stitches on hold, go back and take off half of the provisional cast on stitches for the right shoulder, pick those up with your needle, cast on with a provisional cast on 6 more stitches, and then you start the collar. And I don't know you'll have to look at the pattern, but it might make more sense if you see the picture. But you start in the back then, creating the shaping for the neck, and then that's going to turn into the front band that goes. So when you're done knitting the sweater, the whole sweater is done. You don't have to go back and pick up stitches to knit a front band. It's all knit together. I think Hinterm is a genius and so creative for just designing the sweater, how she was able to do this, because this is the first time I've knit a sweater like this. It also made my head hurt so bad the day that I was doing it, because you have to just read the pattern. Like, it's one of those sweaters, you don't think about it too much, just read the pattern. And but when I say that, just read the pattern, I'm going to read you something here. And this this is where I got stuck for the longest time, and it says on the wrong side, purl 4, then in parentheses it says when repeating purl 1 stitch more than the last row, parentheses, comma, slip 1 with yarn in front, purl 2 together. There's no punctuation in that that sentence that's in parentheses. So I didn't understand what that meant. And then when you go down and you read the next row, which is the right side, it begins to make sense that what you're doing is you're going to knit 1 more stitch because you keep taking stitches from the back. Or, no, excuse me, it'd be the front of the sweater as you're working down for shaping. So it really should be when when repeating, comma, purl one stitch more than the last row. And this is what we talked about this a lot, is punctuation is so important. And you don't know in that row, it doesn't make any sense what you're supposed to do till you go on and you read the next sentence. I also, she does say at the beginning of the pattern, read all the way through the end. Yes. She does say that. Did I do that? No. I mean, I've glanced through. That's not, I mean, I have sort of, but I didn't read it word for word all the way through. So it's just interesting at how our brains are. We can't, like, or my brain, like, I won't speak for everybody, my brain, I get stuck on something, and then when I finally just thought, I kept reading on, that's when I realized what I had to do in that sentence, that back sentence. It's just an odd thing about reading patterns. But it is, you know, I remember when Ben was doing tutoring, and one of the exercises that he had to do is either they put up a board between himself and the tutor, and either he had to tell the tutor what to draw, and then she would draw it, or vice versa. And then they'd see how they interpreted what the instructions said. Oh yeah. Do you know what I'm? And so when you're writing, I don't write patterns, but I can imagine writing patterns. It's really difficult to put into words what someone is supposed to do, and then have it make sense. That's why people test knit patterns and stuff to work all that out. But such a little thing like a comma can make all the difference in the world. Really interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's a pretty sweater. I like it.
So I finished the back. I finished the right front. When I say the back, I mean just the back yoke part. I finished the right front yoke, and then this last night I picked up stitches for the left front. Okay. But I'm now at that point where I'm doing all of that decreasing that I cannot do that while I talk at the same time. So it's just sitting. But I really, I think it's a really nice pattern, and I think it's very well written. And then the other thing I wanted to say, Kelly, is remember before I started this sweater, we had a big discussion about gauge, and I wasn't really getting gauge. And the size that I was going to make, blah, blah, blah. We had a whole discussion, not in the podcast, but just personally, because I was, we had a phone call about all of this. And one thing, I always wash my swatch and let it dry, 24 hours until it's dry, and then I measure it. And with this sweater, I did the swatch and washed it, blocked it, let it sit for a long time before I got around to actually casting. I mean, we had a lot of discussions about what size I should make, but then before I actually cast on, it sat another 2 weeks probably. The gauge changed, just sitting. Oh, wow. So I think that's something I might, going forward, is to think about, because it is 100% wool, it's springy, it's Cormo, that the measurement I got right after it finished drying, like 24 hours later, was very different than the measurement I got gauge. If I waited and let it sit for 3 weeks or 2 to 3 weeks, it probably sat.
I always think, if I block a shawl, I know that it's going to come back. It's going to spring back into its wooliness, because we have so much moisture in our air. Right. It's not we don't have a dry climate, right? And I wonder if that is the kind of what happened, is like when it's first washed, even though you don't want it to stretch and you don't mean to stretch it, just the weight of having the water in it means it stretches a little bit, and then that wool was able to kind of spring itself back.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's really interesting to me because, with now my linen, I put in the washing machine and the dryer. So I don't know if sitting would affect that. But I think going forward with wool, I will let it sit I'm usually so impatient to get going on something. But I think it might be a good idea to let it sit for at least a week, and measure it again and just see, does it change? Because it was significant.
That's a good idea.
It'd be interesting to know if other people have had that experience as well.
Yeah, well, and I know wool can absorb an awful lot of water. without feeling like it's wet. And so like I'll weigh a skein of yarn, and depending on the day that I'll have, notes in my Ravelry page, and there will be a difference in the weight. If if it's different days that I've weighed it, I have noticed that depending on how much moisture in the air, the weight changes. But I bet it just kind of gathered moisture and was able to spring itself back.
Or, the other thing with wool is that mine actually was not completely dry when I measured it.
True, yeah.
Because it does hold,
it feels dry, but yeah.
It feels dry, but it may not really be 100% dry.
That could
like
make
99% dry, but not 100%.
That could make the difference too.
So anyway, it's been a fun project so far. I've been really enjoying knitting it.
Well, that's good.
And nice to knit with wool after knitting with linen too. It's just a nice change. Yeah. So we should just talk about a couple other things. We've talked about the bag, the project bags by Three Green Sisters. We were also going to we should talk about this, that ties into the summer spin-in. Just a reminder that that's underway and it ends September 7th. Yeah, the end is coming up. Faster. So I have to get out there and work on my cotton because I have to finish it by September 7th. So just a reminder of that. And then Kelly, you want to talk about our shop? Yeah. Let's talk about the yarn you made, Marcia. The yarn you dyed. What we're calling this is the Icelandic Collection because it's inspired by my trip to Iceland. So I just thought we should probably give a little bit of an explanation behind all the names. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So the first one I want to talk about because it's my favorite, both colorway and name, is Artic Char. Yes, and these are the new base of the Replenish Rambouillet that we hadn't had before. This is a sport weight. The yarn that we had before in the Replenish Rambouillet was fingering, and now we have the 2-ply fingering, and then we have now the 3-ply sport, and that's the yarn that Artic Char comes in. And it's about 310 yards skein, 110 grams. So, but Artic Char, of course, if everyone was listening to my how I was going on and on and on and on and on about the wonderful Artic Char we had at a restaurant there. And Artic Char is a freshwater fish, similar to salmon. Or like trout, too? Maybe actually more like, trout, I think they're all the same. I should know living in the Pacific Northwest, but I think they're all the same family, I think. But anyway, so that's why it's looks similar to the recipe, actually. Looks similar to the fish. Yeah, not the cooked version. Yeah. So that was just like, as Kelly knows, I think Kim and I made 3 trips to the restaurant to have the Artic Char. It was so good. And of course, they would not share the recipe. I understand why they want you to get on a plane and fly to Iceland to have it at their restaurant, but I would do it. It was so good. It was delicious. So, similar colorway in shades of sort of a chestnut is salmon on rye. And of course, in Iceland, they have delicious rye bread, which we had salmon on it. We also had like the Artic Char, not the fabulous recipe, but just nice Artic Char that they would chop up with mayonnaise and potatoes and put on the rye bread. That was another way of eating it. So that's why that's called salmon on rye, because that's what we would often eat. And the colorways are similar. They have kind of, they coordinate. They have kind of a similar base, and then the salmon is more brown, and the Artic Char has a little bit of orange and teal, more like the color of the actual fish. And then we have a few blues. There's Glacier Lagoon, and that's because Iceland is full of glaciers and full of lagoons. So that seems like that's the perfect name for that. We also have Windstorm, and that was inspired by the the wild windstorm that Kim and I were caught in trying to get back to our hotel from our cooking class. And January skies is a beautiful, how would you describe this blue? Kind of ice blue?
It's more bright. I mean, it's not a super bright blue, but it's more clear and bright than the other two. The other two have more grays and purple. One of them has sort of grays and purples in it, and the other one has more sort of grays and kind of a gray blue. Whereas this one is more the clear blue color.
Yeah,
it's really
and
pretty.
The other blue we have is Icelandic Summer. And I didn't get to experience an Icelandic summer, but this is what I think probably the sky looks like, or what I think the color of an Icelandic summer. It's this beautiful, again, blue, but kind of a grayed, soft blue. I sort of think of it. I have a chambray shirt, sleeveless. I don't know if you can wear a sleeveless shirt in Iceland in the summer, but I have a sleeveless chambray shirt. And it's really kind of that faded chambray color, or like faded denim. There's some of that denim-y blue in it, but it's pale. Yeah, it's pretty, very pretty. And actually, they're all pretty. Marcia, you did a great job. Well, and you helped out too, because we did, because you had to finish up some of the things that I dyed. I finished up the greens. Okay. Those are the only ones that weren't already done. Okay. Yeah. Well, and then there's another one, which I really love this colorway too, Ice and Fire. And it has kind of black, charcoal, blue, a little ochre, gold color in it. What else would you say? A tiny bit of, like a tiny bit of magenta is in it. You don't see it as like a clear spot or speckle of magenta because it's mostly blended in with the other colors. But there's just hints of purple, that purple magenta color. Yeah, it's nice too. It's very nice. And then we get up into our berries. So we have bilberry picking, which is quite a bright purples and pinks and that was inspired. We did not get to do this, but what we're told is it's in Iceland in the spring when the berries come into season. It's very common for families to go berry picking, and there's two kinds of berries: bilberry, and then also crowberry. So, and then the other colorway we have is crowberry skyr, and skyr is their version of yogurt, and the crowberry skyr is a very sort of pale. It has lavenders and purples, but quite a little bit paler than, lighter than the bilberry picking. Yeah, it's like mixed in with the white skyr. Yeah. So, and then, before we get to the greens, we also have weathered sheep barn. Yeah, this one is gorgeous. I like this color. Yeah. It's now let's see. It's kind of a light brown tan. It looks like a weathered barn. Yeah. And we did go to a sheep farm, and yes, they had a weathered barn. So that's what inspired that colorway. And then we have 3 greens, and the truth is, I didn't see much green in Iceland in January. Right. So this one is named Not Greenland because we were in Iceland. And I'm sorry, but that makes me laugh. Yeah, so that makes me laugh too. So we have 3 shades in Not Greenland, and they're very imaginatively named 1, 2, and 3. Right. And these are Aran weight. These are the only ones of the Iceland collection at this point that are not the sport weight. This is an Aran weight. It's a 5-ply. So the sport weight is a 3-ply, and then if you just added 2 more plies to that, that's the weight that you get with this. So I guess you could think of it as a heavy worsted
But I would say it's more toward the lines of an Aran weight yarn.
Yeah. And each skein is 190 yards. And so the colors, should we describe them? How would you describe these 3 colors?
So one of them has more of a yellow and orange tint. It kind
That's number 3, right?
Number 3.
Not
it kind of
Greenland,
reminds me
3.
of the patina on copper.
Mm-hmm.
That copper patina where you have that kind of gold orange color underneath. And then there's one that is leaning more toward blues, like a blue green. That's number 2. Mm-hmm. And then number 3, that would be number 1, not Greenland number 1. I think this color, if I'm remembering correctly how it came about, has kind of an overwash of navy, and black, because it's got a sort of a, this sounds not attractive, but sort of a deadening to it. Mm-hmm. It's really, I like it. I like that effect of over dyeing with a wash, sort of a light wash of a dark color like that. Mm-hmm. So this one's a more gray green. And in fact, when I was photographing it, I was having a really hard time getting it to read green on the screen rather than gray. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely green, but it's more of a gray green color.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you like green,
not Greenland. That makes us laugh, just like the rats. Rats. It's
I can amuse myself very easily. Yes. All right. Well, yeah. So these are all in the shop. $29 a skein for all of them, and our shop is 2usefiberadventures.com. And you can take a look at them for yourself. So,
Kelly, I don't think we have any more business.
No, I think that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Okay. All right. I'll talk to you in 2 weeks.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening. To subscribe to the podcast, visit 2usefiberadventures.com.
Join us on our adventures on Ravelry and Instagram. I am Better in Motion, and Kelly is 100 Projects.
Until next time, we're the 2Us
doing our part for World Fleece.